everybody to the Sticks and Stones talk show. My name is Muriel, also known as Sela, and I am so excited to have you guys join us today for our first show and episode. The name of our ministry, as you guys have heard, is Sticks and Stones, and our motto is Sticks and Stones may break my bones, but his word rebuilds me, him meeting the Most High. And with me today, I have my amazing co-hosts to my right and to my left, which will introduce themselves at this time.
Hi everyone, my name is Erta. Some of you know me as Marie, but I prefer Erta. I am a young professional. I work for a medical device company. We make medical devices. I'm an engineer by trade. I'm also a wife of 3.5 years to my wonderful husband. 3.5 years now. So I'm happy to join the conversation, and I can't wait for all the topics we'll be discussing.
Yes, happy to have you too, sis.
My name is Maudeline. I am also a young professional. I am a tax preparer, and I currently work for a technology company that develops tax software. So also excited to be here.
Awesome, awesome. So we are, as you can see, we're beyond excited to be here to be able to present this show. We're going to have a lot of guests, both men and women. We're going to be having a lot of topics that we're going to be talking about and bringing up. Many of us have heard of daytime shows, nighttime shows, and just shows in general. And there's always different topics and different perspectives that are coming out. But as women of faith, we wanted to bring forth a platform where we're able to talk about the plethora of topics, real life, the real things, but have that faith-based perspective to it. So we're excited to have you guys today. Our first season topic is on womanhood, and today we're going to be focusing on women in media. So I'm going to just get right into it. I'm going to ask you guys these questions. We're just going to start dialoguing from there, okay? So the first question is, how would you define womanhood? So what words come to mind when you hear that word? Okay.
I think for me, when I thought of the question, first thing I thought was, okay, I have a job, but I'm like, that doesn't just make me a woman, that makes me an adult.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So I was finding things that specifically I was finding things that men couldn't do that we do, specifically that's a woman would do. So first one, actually, when I think of the family, even though the man is the head of the household, but I feel like the woman is the center of the family. So within that family center, we see, the ability to give birth, childbearing. So that a man cannot do.
Yeah,
so whenever, there's a saying in Creole that says, poto mitan, the woman is the center of it. So, like, if my mom is sick, the whole house falls apart. You know what I mean? So when I think of woman, the family, I think as the center core. Second one, I think of caregiver.
Yeah.
Women are natural caregivers. There's a compassion that women have that I see more so than our male counterparts.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Two more things I thought. There's the males in our lives, the men, I feel like physically they're stronger than us, but women have an inner strength, I think, that is like no other. And then finally, as I thought of women, I thought of beauty and charm. To me, when I think of woman, she represents beauty.
Yeah.
To me, everything about a woman is beautiful.
Exactly.
So I thought beauty and charm that I don't necessarily see in our male counterparts.
For sure. That's
Yes.
a good point, Artha. What about you?
It's interesting you approached it from the point of view of the difference between a man and a woman. I looked at it more as the difference between a woman and a girl. So I think what allows a girl to become a woman is the ability to take care of herself and take care of others.
Yeah.
She's developed enough life experiences that she can actually make good decisions for herself.
True.
Nice.
That's really true. And that's tough too, because what that comes into when you said comparing it from woman to a girl or girl to woman, it's kind of like when does that transition happen? You know what I mean? Is it age that determines womanhood? Because when I think of womanhood, the first thing I think about is responsibility. You know what I mean? And I know you said, well, I have a job and that's just being an adult.
Right.
And I think that's in a sense, when we say girl to woman, it is attached to adulthood. You know what I mean? Being a woman is attached to being an adult, and so that comes with responsibility. But what you said is a great point. It's like, I think the difference between a girl and woman making mature decisions, there's consequences. I like how you said caregiver. All of that kind of, come together as one thing.
Right.
And it's a lot because, one of the things, obviously our topic today is women in media.
Right.
Because now womanhood is portrayed in so many different ways. Because if you carry a purse, you know what I mean, or you wear dresses, then that, you know, that helps define you as a woman.
Right.
So I love those points that you guys made, that inner strength.
There was one though, with the beauty aspect, I'm realizing that it's not just a woman being beautiful herself. Everything she touches also.
Yeah.
A home can be okay, but the minute a woman put a woman's touch to it, it changes everything.
No, that's
you
true.
know a woman was here. You know? So, or even like just her scent, she passes by like, what is that wonderful scent? You know,
Yeah.
just, that's why I said, I feel like we were created with beauty
That's
in mind.
true. It's true.
You
Kind
know?
of like whatever we do, we kind of flow with that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And of course, there's so many levels when we say woman, because you can talk about a modest woman, you can talk about a loud woman, you can talk about, you know, a quiet woman, you can talk about a crazy woman. So it's very broad. You know what I mean? And so if we're going and, you know, if we're gonna go break it down to those details, I think we'd probably define it differently across womanhood, because you know, depending on what type of woman we're talking about, maybe she's not a caregiver. You know what I mean? Or again, maybe the type of woman we're talking about, maybe she's not mature. So you have a girl in a woman's body. So there's a lot of aspects. There's a lot of direction, girl.
You just said something.
There's a lot of directions you can go with that. And so because it's so broad, I just want us to hone in and focus in on women in media. So how is the media defining womanhood? And like, how do we see that? Because in media, there's a message that they're given, and all of us, I'm pretty sure you guys know of an image that the media is portraying to you that either you relate to or that you know, I don't know, you appreciate. But just from you guys, you know, what are your perspectives on how you think media defines womanhood based on what you've seen?
Okay, so first, when I thought of media, I'm thinking TV, movies,
Yeah.
radio, public figure, right? And I wanted to just be specific that because Western culture is what I see every day, so my answers are going to be based on what I see in Western culture.
That's good.
Because I don't want to say something, because I know we have viewers. If you're from the Eastern culture, some things we're saying is not about you. You know? So, but maybe you've seen it from watching Western culture. So I wanted to just point that out, because a lot of Eastern cultures, actually, women are not even shown a lot on TV. You know, so I think that's the point we should bring up. But Western culture, when I'm thinking of movies, talk shows, I see women as actresses, news anchors. If I'm looking at one extreme, you have, for example, your Oprahs, your Ariana Grandes, your Beyoncés, your Taylor Swifts, where they're movie stars. There's a glamour that comes with it as well. Then you go on the other end of the extreme. I'm talking the bottom, you have your video vixens. Right? You have your housewives of this, housewives of that. Or now everybody, when you know, wants to do what I call a reality show where it's all about them. I'm like, so you have the higher end and you have the lower end. But with me, no matter which end I look at, these are what I see being portrayed. Over-sexualization, whether it's the high end or the low end. I see the over-sexualization. I see the women being used more as the eye candy, you know? She's the trophy. But we did say women have beauty, but it's beauty being used in a negative connotation, you know? So that's, when I see the media today, that's what I see. So.
Yeah, it's definitely true. And along those same lines, the way I wrapped it up was women in media, your womanhood is defined by your ability to attract or keep a mate. And if you can't do that, then it's as if your womanhood isn't even valid.
Deep.
So that's kind of my conclusion from all the things that I have seen.
No, that's so true.
And also, I mean, in addition, when I'm looking at specifically not just all women, so now what I was saying before was about all women, but if we're focusing specifically on Black women, right, women of color, a lot of the shows that I've seen actually have portrayed Black women as being single mothers. I see that a lot. I'm like, why can't a Black woman have a family, right? Like when I used to watch the Huxtables, right? You know, so even Good Times, where, you know, a Black woman was being portrayed. But I feel like that before that was okay, but specifically now, Black women are portrayed as angry, single, uneducated. So there's a negative connotation on all the different shows I've seen on Black women. So it seems like like you mentioned, there's an agenda
Yeah.
to make you think, well, this is what, we want you to think of this type of woman.
Right. No, that's
right?
true.
Right? So, I don't know if is it because they're trying to portray reality, or because you know how they said art imitates life,
Right.
life imitates art. I don't know which one it is, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
it's too one-sided.
Yeah, no,
Right.
it's so true. Like exactly what Eartha is saying. You know what I mean? There is two different spectrums in stuff where in media that's exactly what's going on. It's really at the end of the day is this eye candy that you're trying to fulfill either if you're way up there or way down below. You have to portray an image that in reality is not really reality.
Exactly.
And I think the problem with that is when we're looking, like we were talking about earlier, you were saying girlhood, from girl to womanhood, a lot of these young girls are watching this stuff and they're trying to reach an image in media that's not even a reality.
Right.
And so with that, there comes low self-esteem because you're trying to reach a mark and a type of, let's see here, there's a word I'm looking for, but a type of standard that doesn't really exist. And so that's tough. That's really tough. I think that's where comes comparison, there comes jealousy, and so many things that us as women, even in women, being a woman, even though we're not girls by age, we begin to face certain self-esteem issues that we probably wouldn't have faced if there wasn't a certain message being portrayed in the media. So it's a broad topic. It's really deep. And so with that, I was gonna say too, I know you wanted to say something?
I was gonna ask the question. So we're saying what the media's portrayal is, right? We talked about, because I was saying how there's the high and the low end. That's what they show. But to me, like in between, I'm looking at social media.
Yeah.
So the media is not controlling that. We're controlling that. Even what we put out there,
That's true.
I feel like I see over-sexualization.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
like let's say you're doing a show, like you're being fed this. I don't know if because we're being fed it, now we're spinning it back.
Exactly.
You
No,
know what I
it's
mean?
true. It's true.
So even in our own social media, I look at pictures, I'm like, tone it down a little bit. You know what I mean?
No, it's so true. So that's it. Then it's kind of like it's a circle. It goes around because it's like, okay, I'm eating it and I'm releasing it, and somebody else is eating it and they're releasing it. So it's just kind of like it's a circle. It's continuous and it never ends in a sense. And so with that, what I was gonna ask you guys is, how do you see yourself in the media? You know what I mean? For us as older women, we're on the topic of women.
Yes.
In regards to age, I'm talking about, and of course, actual gender-wise. You know, how do you see yourself in the media, if you do see yourself at all? I'll start with you.
I don't really see myself in the media. I can appreciate some shows like Blackish or Scandal, just because they portray a Black woman who is professional and who can take care of herself, who has a family, as you mentioned. But I feel like there's not enough of that, and really the only thing that I have in common with them is the fact that they are educated, and I don't really see much else that I can really relate to. But we understand, like, the purpose of the media is to make money ultimately.
Girl, you speaking.
And I think even for social media and the kind of things that people will put on there, the over-sexualization goes back to trying to get attention. You know, the media in general is a business, so you get the attention so you can get the money. And then people on social media, they probably just want the attention for popularity. They're hoping maybe one day they'll be discovered and, you know, land their next big gig. And that's kind of a bigger agenda behind it that's fueling all this over-sexualization that we're seeing.
So you're saying because sex sells, they're selling it in the media.
Yes.
Right. But even with that though, I wanted to say, okay, the producers, whoever's putting this out there, at first I wanted to say, well, they're the bad guys. You guys are putting this out there. But then, as to your point, Maudlin, you're saying they're only putting what the viewer wants to see.
Exactly.
If the viewer wants to see this, like you said, there's a moral and there's a business aspect to it. Morally, maybe they shouldn't, but business, they said, if this is what the viewer wants, I will give the viewer what the viewer wants to see.
It's true.
Absolutely.
And then that's the part that comes in where, you know, you were saying, sis, a woman, when you think of womanhood, you think about the woman in the home being the center. And so with that, as women who are wives or mothers, there's a level, okay, media, you could put out whatever you want to put out, but I monitor what my kids are receiving and are taking. Not only that, what my children are receiving or taking, but what are they seeing me take in? Because if I can't, it's not do what I say, but do what I do. We always hear that proverb all the time. And so, there has to be a level of, okay, even though this is what's being portrayed in media, and unfortunately, you can't fully control everything that your children or even, your sisters, your cousins, your close friends and neighbors may watch and see, but it's always important, like, okay, as me who has a good shoulder on my head, I know how to filter certain things, my lifestyle and what I'm portraying to those who are around me that are younger is important and it's vital in order that they have an actual real example. You know what I mean? So it's a very touchy topic because, like you said, it's like, can we really blame them? Because at the end of the day, it's a business. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, everybody's trying to eat. Everybody is trying to get some bread on their table. And that's all it is. You know what I mean? And we go home and we move it forward. And so as women, it's important that we help to kind of filter that because there comes suicide because of low self-esteem and jealousy. It's like, okay, keep doing, you may be doing what you're doing, but it's going to influence somebody later on either way. You know what I mean? And so with that, I just kind of want to move on to say this is one of the reasons for having Sticks and Stones, because a lot of times I found there's some shows that I would watch on daytime, and it's cool, like some of the things are juicy and it's interesting, but it's when you sit down and actually get the perspective and the answers that people are giving, it's like, oh my gosh, like this is so bad. For somebody who doesn't have a good head on their shoulders and doesn't have a filter, and as women of faith, for us is scripture, it's like you're really stuffing your mind with garbage. And it's really unfortunate, but there's only but so much that can be done. You know what I mean? And so here's hence the reason and a purpose to use Sticks and Stones talk show as a way to bring out real topics that they're talking about every day, but being able to really give answers that, are moral, that has a level of standards, so that those who are growing up, because what we lack is mentorship, can have some type of perspective that is, balanced. You know what I mean?
I have to, same for me, like when I'm watching the media, I don't see myself represented. On the contrary, even though I'm a woman now, I know who I am and what I stand for, but I still see things that plays on my insecurities. Where I'm like, oh my goodness, look at her body. You know what I mean? I want that body, or I want that outfit, And I keep thinking, like you mentioned, I'm a grown woman, I feel like that. What about a young girl who's watching this? What is that doing to her, and to her sense of self and her self-esteem? So, am I represented? No. On the contrary, it does the opposite. It lowers the self-esteem even more, because if the person they don't see themselves, they're trying to aspire to be something, but what's being put out there, they don't see themselves, so they're gonna go do whatever means necessary to get that.
And because you said that, what I was gonna say is, because I know the question is, how do you see yourself in media? But as I begin to hear some of your answers, I begin to think, do they really want you to see yourself in media? Or are they trying to put out an image that they want you to be? You know what I mean? Because we can be who we are based off of how we were raised and culture, where we come from, our background, and what we've been surrounded by. And then when we begin to see something else that's different, that's contrary to what we're used to or what we know, then it's like, okay, something's wrong with me. And so because of that, I need to now adjust, or I need to try to become what seems popular. What is selling? What is it that people are accepting? What is it that people think is cool? Because at the end of the day, media shapes the culture. And so whatever is being showed on media, that's what the culture is. And at the end of the day, a lot of people want to fit in to culture. You know what I mean? They want a sense of identity, and they want to be able to fit in. And if you have young girls, teenagers, and unfortunately women who still haven't had that girl, side of them that hasn't fully grown up and matured, they are going to now gravitate to something to still find an identity, because even though they're 30 or they're 40, they still haven't found a solid ground yet to know, okay, who am I?
Right.
You know what I mean?
So basically, you're saying it's a slow programming over time.
Yeah.
They're slowly programming you.
That's it.
Right. But which I think is what you said before is even more important, where you said the mother in the home shaping your child, giving them a good foundation from the get-go.
That's true.
Because if they have a solid foundation, yes, the media can try, but
Yeah.
like they said, teach your child how they should. But
Yeah,
how does
train
the
up a
person-
child in the way they should go.
Right.
So when they
if
grow
if
older,
they
they
have
depart.
a good foundation, yes, the media will try, but something that you taught them will stick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So as they go, they say, you know what? I know this is what they would like me to be, but no, that's
Yeah.
not who I am.
No, it's true.
You know what I mean?
And the foundation is very tough, because what it is cool building a foundation from home. But if you as a woman or a mother didn't have a solid foundation,
You just said something.
so now it just becomes a generational
said
of
something.
broken foundations.
Absolutely.
So at the end of the day, even though you're trying to build a strong foundation, you're building something strong based off of the knowledge that you were fed through media, and not necessarily something that was not influenced by the media. I hope that didn't sound
Yes,
confusing.
no,
y'all.
it makes sense. It's that circle
It's
again.
a circle, yeah. They say the circle of life. I know they say Lion King. But, you know, that it just kind of keeps going. I know you probably have something to say, Madeline, because there's a lot being said here.
I think it's never too late to break the cycle. If you
That's
did
true.
not get a solid foundation and you are aware of how the media is affecting you, you can start building that foundation right now. I know just from personal experience, I reached a point where I stopped watching chick flicks because it was having a negative impact on my emotions. And so just being aware of that, I told myself, no, I'm going to stay away from this until I mature enough and I become secure enough that I can watch this and not feel like I need to be these women in these movies.
Yeah, that's true.
So once you see that and you know what you need to do, just go ahead, start laying down that good foundation for yourself. Feed on the word of God. That's how you're really going to understand, you know, what it is that you need to be as a woman, what your identity is in Christ.
Yeah. It's
And
so
I think
true.
it's because of these conversations that it's forcing women to question that.
Yeah.
Because before it's like you're blindly just watching it like a robot being programmed. They
Yeah.
you just, you know what I mean?
Continually.
But then you see a show like this, where it's
Yeah.
like, you scratch your head. I never actually thought about that.
Right.
You know what I mean? It
Exactly.
makes you think.
It
forces-
challenges you.
Challenges you.
Exactly. And that's very important. We need that challenge. I like what you said when she was saying that, you know, it's never too late, which is so true. And with that, like, because it's never too late, just know in advance it's not going to be easy, because it's sometimes you so are programmed to become something, even though that's not what you were. You know what I mean? You then begin to forget who were you really, because what you were influenced by and what you were raised up to be is now mixed into what you exposed yourself to. And so it's kind of like, okay, which part of was me and what I was raised and know and understand, and which part is it that's influenced, right? So
Exactly.
I'm hearing that we got 5 minutes left on the clock here, ladies.
Oh, wow. That was fast.
It is fast. It is fast. So with that, just because I know time is moving along, we only have a few minutes left. I was gonna just say, you know, just a quick thing, like, what do you think? I know we kind of touched on it already, but what are some? And as I'm asking these questions, guys, you know, think about them for yourself as well. This is not just something that we're putting out there for our perspective, but it's really, like Eartha was saying, is to help you to think and really challenge yourself. So, you know, what do you think are practical solutions for women to break out of, you know, certain things that they've been influenced by the media? I know you kind of touched on it already, but you know, with kind of wrapping some of it up, you know, how can we what are some practical solutions? Because you did say, like, it's never too late, but I did also mention it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult.
Yes, it depends a lot on what you surround yourself with, what you expose yourself to. What kind of friends do you have? Are they the kind of women who are going to accept you for who you are and uplift you, or are they the ones going to say, you shouldn't wear that because your booty looks too big in it? Like, and I can understand there's constructive criticism. If you shouldn't wear something, you want to have friends who are going to tell you, please don't wear that. But you don't want to have the kind of friends who are just looking to bring you down, and they're the ones who are going to be comparing you to what they see in the media. Exposing yourself to the Word of God. I know we use Proverbs 31 a lot as a template to show what the ideal woman is, but even in Proverbs 31, you see the scriptures emphasize that I think in verse 25, she is clothed with strength and dignity. It emphasizes her work ethic, her decision making. It says nothing about her looks except to say that charm is deceitful and beauty is fleeting. So it shouldn't be about your appearance. It should be about your character. And so as you study the Word of God and as you surround yourself with people who are going to lift you up, you can start to lay down that good foundation.
That's real. That's good. I like that. What about you?
think
Solutions.
for me, because the media, I think, focus only on the exterior and nothing on up here in the interior. So I'm like, if I'm gonna encourage women, do the exact opposite of what the media is portraying. For example, especially for Black women, they're portraying us as, angry, uneducated. One thing I will encourage you is get an education, right? So it's practical. Even if, I know colleges are expensive, but you can still make something of yourself, right? That you can be proud of. That has nothing to do with the size of your backside, with your physical. It has more to do with what's up here. And to quote scripture, it says in Philippians 4 verse 13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I feel like once you put a plan down, you will accomplish it. If you say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to accomplish something, you'll be surprised how far you can go. So I'll encourage that. Make something of yourself. Get an education. Also, how you carry yourselves, because if the media is focused on physical, there's a certain way you can dress to not even add to that even more, right? When I'm looking at as a woman, the way you dress is how people see you, right? So maybe we can close ourselves in a more modest way, our mannerisms as well. And then this one, with the over-sexualization, I feel like, again, art imitates life, life imitates art again. I think the women, I'm going to have to just say it bluntly, I think we need to close our legs, right? I feel like right now that seems to be the cool thing to do. I'm dating him, you know what I mean? We're shacking together. But I feel like it doesn't portray women in a positive light. That beauty, it only takes away from it. If that's all I feel like you're bringing to the table.
It's true.
Right?
That's
so
true.
that's some advice that I would give.
No, for sure. I would love to have shared my perspective, but unfortunately, guys, our time is up. We will definitely have to do a part 2 on this one because it's definitely a dense topic. And, because we decided to do women in media because right now we're using media as a platform to bring forth a message or different messages depending on the different topics that we're bringing up. That is a balance, an alternative option in which people can, feed themselves and pour into themselves mentally, emotionally. Like Sister Eartha was saying, they're always focused on the physical, but not the mind. And also internally, the soul, the heart, your emotions, the things that you got to heal from, spiritual aspect of things as well. So, I'm excited. We're going to continue this for sure. We're going to do a part 2. Definitely reach out to us. We're going to have our social media information where you guys can send in some questions that you guys may have, or even some input on your perspective about womanhood in media and how it's portrayed. Maybe some of the tips that we've made or said today that really impacted you or touched you. Definitely let us know. We'll have our information at the bottom of the screen so that you can guys can get in contact with us and just send in your thoughts, your questions, and even anything else that you may be pondering that you may want answered. So we thank you so much for joining us, for being a part of this. This was only episode 1. Definitely be on the lookout for more, ladies and gentlemen, because it is going to be lit. All right. So thank you again for joining us, guys. I hope you have a great evening, morning, whatever time it is in the day. You have a great one. All right. And we're headed out.